path of knowledge and the path of love, are they two separate paths? An attempt to explain the path of love, specially intended for followers of the path of awakening to non-duality. Usually, we believe the path of knowledge is one path, and the path of love is another. But is it true? First, consciousness is a paradox. Consciousness is that which sees, that which hears those words. It registers everything else. Consciousness is therefore difficult to define, because it is known of the things it perceives, it hears. It is neither color nor form, neither this time nor that place. What then remains to define it? Consciousness itself. This makes it elusive. Yet, on the other hand, what could be more intimate? It is self-evident. It knows itself by itself. That is why, in certain traditions, it is called the self. Ordinarily, consciousness forgets itself and becomes only consciousness of objects, of this and that, these words, for instance. It remains consciousness, for without it there would be no objects. Things do not exist independently of consciousness. When one says, "This cup exists even when I am not aware of it," what is actually meant is, I am aware that this cup exists even when my eyes are not looking at it. But this very representation depends on consciousness, even when consciousness is unaware of it. Thus, consciousness forgets itself in this way. Always present, it is aware of everything except itself, even though nothing is possible without it. This is the paradox of consciousness. Why? Because it is transparent. It is always there, yet without form, without even abstract characteristics. Some things lack form, but still remain things, such as infinity, being, or space. But consciousness is not like that. It is only defined by consciousness. It is unique, cannot be compared to anything. It can, of course, be compared, but such comparisons fail to capture its essence, its unique, singular nature. Thus, consciousness forgets itself. I forget myself in things, in thoughts. And sometimes I awaken to myself, and that is called enlightenment. I realize that I am not a thing, but the source and ground of all things. First, I discover, I awaken to my being beyond everything, that I am not one thing, that I am no thing. Then I realize that I am the stuff, the very being, substance of everything, just as the ocean, The ocean is more than waves, yet no wave is other than the ocean. This is awakening to non-duality. Just here and now, bringing attention back to myself. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, what is desire? What could speak in exactly the same way about desire? This is the point. Whatever is said about consciousness can be said about desire. There is desire, and there are the objects of desire. Just like there is consciousness and the contents or objects of consciousness. But really, desire cannot be reduced to any one of its objects. Desire does not lose itself in the desire of chocolate or this food or that body. I want a motorcycle, a cat, and in this very movement, the movement itself, the vibration that is desire, is forgotten. I turn only upon the motorcycle, the cat, yet the desired object depends on desire. It is desire that makes the object. It is an object of desire only, by and within desire, just like everything exists only by and within consciousness. Thus, just as objects exist only within consciousness, the objects of desire exist only within desire itself. Now, if desire awakens to itself, turns upon itself, turns back, it realizes that it is beyond all objects, whether concrete or abstract. It realizes that the object it tends to is neither the source nor the end of desire. It is obvious in the ordinary experience of desire's apparent exhaustion, even while its object remains. The motorcycle, the bike is still there, but the desire for the bike is gone. In reality, desire is always the same, boundless, equal, inexhaustible. Only the object of desire changes. An object created by desire itself. The person I love is made by desire. Desire is the real source. We believe that the object creates desire, just like we believe the world, the material world, creates consciousness. But really, desire creates the object. Once there is no more desire for the bike disappears. Something else appears in its place. Thus, desire forgets itself in its many objects, in its many targets. Then I awaken to myself. Desire becomes turned upon itself. It turns back upon itself and becomes desire of desire, like awareness of awareness, self-consciousness, not consciousness of self as this or that, not self-consciousness as consciousness of my person, my memory, my ideas, my beliefs, my feelings, but pure awareness, pure self-awareness. Just the same, desire becomes self-desire, not desire for this or that feeling, for my personal individual comfort, but desire for the source of desire, the very origin of desire, an infinite desire, and also a desire for all objects simultaneously, an infinite desire for the infinity of all possible things. In certain traditions, this is called love. So, are desire and consciousness one and the same? Is it not obvious then that desire and consciousness are merely two words for one and the same no thing? I would not want to exhaust you, dear listener. I will not go further into the details of the demonstration and will leave these words to your intuition. All this to say that consciousness is desire, that whatever is said, is taught in the path of self-awakening about consciousness can be said about desire. And that is the point of Tantra. In every desire, returning to the source of desire, pure desire, limitless. And since every emotion and every motion is desire, every movement is a path to awakening, a path to the source. This is tantric alchemy. And since this ascent from emotion to pure emotion, from movement to self-movement, to the source of movement, like a salmon going back to the source, to the spring, original source of its very being, is the path in all traditions of divine love across all religions and cultures. The path of divine love is also this path of awakening. For example, in Christianity, the emphasis is placed on suffering, but it is still the same path, the path that leads from desire, which forgets itself in its objects, to pure desire, to infinite desire, to love. Thus, the direct path of awakening is the path of love, understood in this way, the path of pure desire. Those two paths of knowledge and of love are one and the same, beyond merely aiming for the same goal. When desire, beyond its accidental object, remains turned upon itself, reclaims itself, that is awakening. And that changes everything.